Less than a month now from the midterm elections, and tonight we're highlighting the Democratic and Republican nominees in a key congressional race.
Michigan's 12th Congressional District pits Democrat Rashida Tlaib against Republican Steve Elliott. Fox News' Hillary Golston joining us live in the studio with more. Hillary?
Yeah, Taryn and Roop, I spoke with both candidates, and we begin with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and we want to get straight to a topic analysts say could significantly impact our gas prices. Take a look. The president said that there could be some pretty serious consequences for the Saudis because of the OPEC plus alliance's pledge to slash like 2 million barrels a day of production. That is a lot. The White House essentially signaling that the Saudis are now aligning themselves with Russia. Senator Blumenthal, as you probably know, a fellow Democrat, has put forward some legislation to stop arms sales to Saudi Arabia for at least a year. Should we be looking at that? Do you agree with Senator Blumenthal?
One of the issues I've been having with the Saudi government for a while is their human rights violation, of course, the killing of an American journalist. But, you know, the discontinuation of arms sales is something that, of course, I'm so support because much of some of that arms sales is being used in conflict that is impacting a lot of my families in my district who have family in Yemen and other parts of the world. And so I think it's important to always hold these folks that are so-called partners accountable.
You mentioned the CHIPS Act, and you know, we saw a pretty substantial legislation pass out of the House and the Senate and be signed into law. President Biden is touting that legislation as a win for his administration, but someone who you've aligned yourself with before and share some ideas with is Bernie Sanders, who, you know, has said that essentially it's a bribe, corporate welfare for these huge chip companies when there are a lot of struggling families with inflation over 8% consistently, even with the very aggressive rate hikes that we're seeing from the Federal Reserve and Chairman Jerome Powell. So is it appropriate for us to have gone down this road to fund big corporations that can certainly make their own private investments and have made billions in private investment here in America? Was that the right move?
I mean, I think the CHIPS Act was a great partnership in trying to push and incentivize people to come back into the United States to do this work. I mean, from Governor Whitmer, who put, I think, over $300 million of a partnership from the state of Michigan, as well as what we're going to be able to do with the CHIPS Act. I think Senator Sanders and myself and many of us also want accountability. We don't want this money to be going to companies that later will do big payouts, stock buybacks. We don't want that money, our American tax dollars, to make people richer. We want to be able to use it as a tool and to be able to say, build it here, build it in the United States, because we need to depend on our own, for us to be able to do it on our own soil. There is a role for us as a government to be able to incentivize it, but I just don't want it to be done in a way where we can't go back and claw back and say, hey, this is not what the intent was. The intent was not for you to help your shareholders, but to help the American people and to be able to create jobs here.
You talked about buybacks, limiting the ability of these companies to buy back their own stock, some provisions that would limit them from being able to outsource jobs, et cetera. Those things were lacking in the CHIPS Act. And did the Democrats miss an opportunity to stand by what they say are their values if this isn't about crony capitalism, if this isn't about corporate welfare?
Myself and Senator Sanders, we voted for it, but we expressed concern very, very clearly about the fact that watch this. We have to be very careful. We know that these should have been in there. It doesn't mean that we won't be writing the letters and pushing the administration to push back on those, and we'll expose the companies that do this.